Okay, so we got some pretty great insights from Coinbase's Q3 earnings, as well as a major update that we're going to be talking about into this video. Anyways, guys, before we jump directly into these numbers, I just want to let you guys know that although I am actually a licensed financial security advisor as my full-time job, none of these stocks or topics that we talk about today are in any way my recommendation. This is merely my opinion, and you can choose to do what you wish with this information. If you guys like this sort of updates for Coinbase, please give me a like and subscribe down below if you want to see more financial content just like this. So although Q3 was nothing like Q2 for Coinbase, we still saw beats on earnings per shares as well as revenue. And that's adding in the fact that we still saw crypto spot prices drop by 37% this quarter. They generated over $1.1 billion of net revenue, which actually came from $1.1 billion of transactional revenue and then about $145 million of subscription and services revenue. And although that transactional revenue makes up a massive majority of their actual earnings, and you know what, it kind of scares a lot of investors because there's not a lot of that diversification, that services and subscription revenue actually went up 41% quarter over quarter, which is just absolutely insane. It's what Brian Armstrong is actually saying is what we think that crypto is starting to go into its utility phase, which is actually going to help bring up, some of these actual subscription and service revenue as people start to hodl more of their actual crypto coins and aren't spending it back and forth or making these ridiculous trades. Okay, so let's actually do a little bit of a statistics dump here from this quarter. So verified users, which are their total amount of users signed up for their platform, just actually hit 73 million users, which was up 7% quarter over quarter. Nothing like Q2, but I expect to see this number absolutely jump whenever it comes to Q4 because we're seeing all this explosive things like, crazy coins like Shiba Inu going off, which brings a lot of retail traders. But now the monthly transacting users, the people who are actually buying and selling on this platform, and this is where the numbers get crazy, and just year over year, okay, so from Q3 of 2020 to Q3 of 2021, it went from 2.1 million to 7.4 million users, up 252% year over year. Now their trading volume from last year went from 45 billion to this quarter, actually 327 billion, up 627% year over year. Remember, these numbers are all on the back of an actual crypto market that went down 37% this quarter. And now we're actually in all-time highs for Q4. So what's actually going to happen, come Q4 in this massive crypto bull market that we're having? And just to break down that trading volume, because it is the most important statistic that we have, the actual retail trading volume went up 416%, and institutional trading volume went up 767%. So that's sort of how we got that average percentage. So the coolest part is that institutional trading volume was $234 billion, which was actually only down, 26% from Q2, even though crypto spot prices were down 37%. So we actually saw an increase in institutional trading volume, even though crypto volumes were down. But now whenever we look into Q4, that, crypto spot prices are actually up a ton versus, institutional buying growth is going up, at these 700% growth rates. What do you think is going to happen in Q4? Assets on platform went from $35 billion to $255 billion, up 608% year over year. And net revenue actually went from $287 million up to $1.23 billion, actually up 330% year over year. Net income went from $81 million of last year up to $406 million of this year, which was actually up 401% year over year. That's a 5x on the amount of money that we're keeping, in which we're actually taking that money, if you don't remember, and actually investing it into other crypto projects, bringing up the amount of other users that we're getting, as well as actually buying more just actual crypto. We're actually putting 10% of our allocation into just buying crypto ourselves. So if it continues to grow, not only is our customer base going to grow, our amount of crypto that we're holding is going to grow, and just the amount of net income is also growing. Like this growth rate it is unparalleled, even when we're talking about a quarter that did not necessarily do well because of crypto spot prices. And just back onto the topic of diversification, a lot of people worry about us or other crypto platforms just simply holding onto Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some of these bigger names. But actually, Coinbase actually is now at 103 different crypto assets for trading. And then on our custody side, where we're actually holding on to different companies' crypto for them, we're actually up to 158 different crypto assets that we're able to hold for them on our platform. So whenever we actually look at the amount of crypto market cap that there is, whenever we exclude Bitcoin and Ethereum, about 42% of the other market is all the other coins added up, together. But whenever it comes to Coinbase's actual, trading volume, it's completely different. About 59% of the amount of volume that's actually being traded from our transactional revenue is coming from altcoins, okay, which is excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. So the difference is that although there's 42% market cap for, all of crypto, most people are trading the actual altcoins on Coinbase, which is actually driving up our net revenue. So it's important that we continue to onboard all these new cryptos, because whenever you have things like Ethereum and Bitcoin, people like to buy and hold, okay? They don't actually sell that often, and that's not what we want. I mean, it's fine, it's great, but we're a toll booth. So it's the back and forth that we love, because, we charge them every single time. So these more riskier assets, like Shiba Inu, for example, are going to drive up our transactional revenue. And you'll see in Q4, Shiba Inu is going to be a massive part of Q4, and it's going to drive a lot of our revenue. And 59% in this quarter is actually up from last quarter, which is actually only 50%. So altcoins are actually becoming very important for Coinbase as we continue to expand our, more and more holdings that we're offering to people. So we're going to be switching the conversation over to how Coinbase is actually doing better than their competitors, okay? It's very important that not only that we have an exchange on a winning asset, because that's why I'm banking on Coinbase, right? I'm banking on the idea that crypto is going to go up in price, and that, people are going to be buying and selling their cryptos, and we're going to be the toll booth taking a price every single time. But I want to make sure that Coinbase stays at the top. We don't want to be the MySpace of the exchange world, where although we're in the right space, we never played it right, and so there's going to be some Facebook-esque type of company that's going to plow through us. So in this quarter, what we did was we actually hired 600 new people onto the business, which, if you know Brian Armstrong, he does not take this sort of hiring process lightly. These people are champion-esque, sorts of people, which actually could lead up the expenses because we probably have to pay them a lot. But if they bring a huge service to the business, it obviously adds on to the amount of revenue and then hopefully the net income afterwards. But those 600 new people actually brought up to us going to about 2,800 full-time members, which actually doubled our amount of employees this year alone. That's only within, the 3 quarters, but we are growing like crazy. So it's important that we do so to match the competition, make sure that we're staying on top. So it's really good to know, even though this business is absolutely massive and a market leader, that they continue to innovate and stay on top. And so how are they really doing this? Well, they're doing it through a lot of things. One of them actually being Coinbase Ventures, okay? Which we actually ended up investing in over 200 projects and companies throughout this quarter, which is absolutely amazing, because not only are we going to make, some transactional revenues and potential for selling these, equity investments at a higher price later on as these companies grow, but whenever we see a project that really, really stands out to us, and we have so much capital behind us, we're able to buy these projects outright and actually just add them to the Coinbase network. There's a couple examples of this, but probably the best example is whenever we invested in a company called Bison Trail. And whenever Bison Trail, we actually started looking into them, we go, oh my gosh, you know what? We could really use this for our own platform. And then they offered them 100% equity buyout for the company, which they took. And then that became the platform for Coinbase Cloud. The same thing happened for Coinbase Commerce, and actually a potential for Coinbase NFT. There's all these different ways because of our investments in things like Uniswap, OpenSea, Compound. All of these different things are leading to multiple different areas in our business for which we're growing. And another product that we actually invested in through Coinbase Ventures was what actually is now Coinbase Commerce, which allows us to actually, take payments for crypto and actually pay out different merchants and, storefront owners and everything in crypto. But now we're actually doing it as a way for our own business, taking on payroll and direct deposits. So then we can actually get people to, give us their actual paychecks, and then we will incentivize them to do so because we won't put transactional volumes on if they want their payroll, let's say, put into Bitcoin or something like this. But this is so amazing because it's going to take the assets on platform absolutely into the stratosphere going forward, because you're just going to be taking on, you won't have to incentivize people to just, have a continuous purchase every single month and make that decision. It's those sort of dollar cost averaging and just having these systems set up that take the money out of your account without having to ask for that signature every single time. That's how you rack up the assets on platform. Once the assets on platform happens, they might buy and sell from there, use other products like Coinbase Card, really start to dive into the actual ecosystem of Coinbase and get that cross-selling happens, which actually makes a lot of our money because we're going into a bunch of different products. If you want to see a great other company just like that that's doing that, check out the SoFi video right up here. They're a great example of how cross-buying or cross-selling is done absolutely perfectly. And they're actually starting to work with a bunch of other companies like United Masters, Fortress Investment Group, Trip Actions, and a bunch more. They're actually able to get sort of a group benefits package with these companies because they're partnering with Coinbase now to get their direct deposits in Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever they'd like, depending on if they want to choose that option. They can even choose to, deposit it into Coinbase, but in USD. So they don't necessarily need crypto, but they're working with these companies, and then they can get things like Coinbase Card, and then all the different other features that they're offering within this sort of group benefits thing. So we're almost tackling, the group RSP market that other financial services groups try to go after, but in crypto. It's such an amazing utility for this coin, or for this company, and what's actually making Coinbase and the actual cryptocurrencies very, very useful. And this is a pretty fun tidbit as well, that crypto assets on Coinbase actually made up for 12.5% of all the crypto in the world right now, the total market cap of crypto. And so whenever we see, higher verified users, that's going to raise that percentage even higher. But then whenever we see the spot price of Bitcoin start to hit all-time highs, and we know that we own 12.5% of the market and possibly continuing to grow, that is a massive, massive onboard for our company, and what I think is still a very undervalued company for crypto, considering just how fast this actual commodity grows. And even the balance sheets for Coinbase are doing really, really well. So for cash, we see about $6.4 billion in cash, with about $3.3 billion in debt. And now the way that the current actual accounting standards work is that you can't add crypto onto your amount of assets. So there's another about $90 million worth of USDC, and then an additional $540 million, which is actual just crypto holdings, which they invested, I think, like $140 million of that, and the rest is, purely growth. So huge on the cash side and actual availability to grow, with a little bit of debt, and our actual amount of interest rates on those debts are actually quite low as well. So great balance sheet in my opinion. So let's actually talk about their outlook, and what they actually announced was a little bit of October, okay? So going into Q4, they announced that they did retail monthly active users of 11.7 million users for October, as well as $186 billion in actual trading volume. That's a little over half of what we did in Q3 in just the matter of October. So if we continue to see sort of a run on crypto for the rest of, Q4, this is going to jump dramatically, especially in the price of Coinbase. And it's why you see a lot of actual analysts actually putting this company into, the high $500, $600 price ranges, is because, well, the Q4 is looking amazing. If we're holding up 11.7 million users, okay, that's going to jump up even from Q2, which was so strong. That's going to make us have probably the strongest quarter that we've ever had. And especially whenever we look at partnerships like Facebook and other, massive partnerships like this, the future for Coinbase is looking bright right now. They even said that the average transactional revenue for, each customer that they had for 2021 was around $50. This is actually up 25% from $40 of last year. So not only are we onboarding way more customers, but we're actually able to, get more revenue out of them as we increase the amount of cross-selling that's happening through our different products, and just onboarding a bunch of different cryptos so people want to trade more. And finally, for the most exciting update, is they actually updated the numbers on their wait list for their NFT marketplace, for which they actually saw 2.5 million people sign up for Coinbase's NFT marketplace, which, whenever you compare that to another company, which is OpenSea, which started in 2017, which Coinbase also owns, a massive portion of, because we were a seed round investor in that company as well, but they have a total of 300,000 users, okay? 2.5 million have signed up for Coinbase. It's not even out yet. This opportunity and growth in the NFT platform, because not only is it growing, but the amount of people that we're bringing over to it is already going to shoot up the amount of NFTs, but it's also going to bring in so much transactional revenue, investor trust, all these sorts of things is going to drive the growth and, unprecedented opportunity for Coinbase just to the moon. Now, I'm not going to absolutely skyrocket and say that I do actually have like $1,000 price target on this stock in the next 5 years. Currently, I think it should be valued around $600, and then let the growth sort of climb as crypto spot prices go up, because the PE ratio is just too low in this company. But regardless, I think the NFT platform and all the different onboardings for different products, that's really what's going to drive the price of Coinbase, let alone them just expanding into all, retail spaces, institutional spaces, onboarding customers like Facebook. Who knows? They might get Google and Microsoft and all these clients come next. I mean, Tim Cook himself, the CEO of Apple, has already said that he is buying and selling crypto. So, I mean, this is coming whether you like it or not. And Coinbase is possibly the best bet if you want to own a toll booth and not speculate on a single coin. Own a toll booth that's allowing 158 different coins to run through it, and you get a piece of every single one of those transactions. Hope you guys liked the video. That's all for me. If you did, I'd appreciate a thumbs up, and subscribe down below if you want to see more financial content just like this. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed it. Stay safe trading, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye for now.